Okay, hi everybody. I'm Danielle Metz with Momentum Integrative Wellness, where we help build momentum for people who can't afford to lose it. And I am here with Caite Corripio, board certified health coach. And I think the two of us could just have a really good conversation today about health, right? Like we see people for weight loss coaching and we our prescribers utilize GLP-1s. You see a lot of people who are on GLP-1s and come to you for health coaching and such. So I think this will just be a really synergistic conversation. But why don't you tell our audience just a little bit about who you are and kind of what you do?
Oh, awesome. Thank you. It's so great to be here. So I am, as you mentioned, a board certified health and wellness coach. I lost 80 pounds about 12 or 13 years ago. And, it's fascinating. I figured, I'm a reasonably intelligent person, but I really struggled to figure it out. And I just thought, let me work out harder and reduce my eating to such that, really I was ready to pass out. Like all the things. And the scale would go down 2 pounds and it just wasn't, then I'd be like, screw it, give me the pizza. Because it just didn't work. And I just thought, how can I figure this out? And I found a program really that helped me figure it out. And what happened was it changed the trajectory of my health and my life. And what I mean by that is I went on to lose 80 pounds and it opened my eyes to, hey, I can help people. I can help people who were struggling with what I do. And now, I went back, continued my education. I'm now board certified. And, I feel that I just have a lot of tools in my tool belt to help people. I've been there. I understand it. I get it. And, sometimes we think I'm meant to be this way. I know I was always like, I take after my dad. He had a sugar addiction. He was pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, insulin dependent, and kept spiraling and spiraling. And what I recognize is I don't have to be that way. And I'm just thrilled that I can help others really break those chains and that cycle of genetic cycle or generic, no, generational cycle.
Yeah.
That's the word that it's crazy. And we just see so much success in our clients and the people that we're helping. And like I said, changed my health, changed my life.
Yeah, and one of the things we see a lot of women here. We actually are not just a woman's practice. We actually work with men and with women. But one of the number one complaints I hear women tell me when they're here and they're looking for total body, total health optimization, and we're having the GLP-1 conversation, we're having the weight loss conversation, we're having the metabolic reset conversation is, oh my gosh, I wish I would have found you sooner because my doctor didn't tell me any of the things. They just said, here's a prescription, and now my skin is saggy, or, I'm stuck and I'm on a really high dose, but I'm still not losing any weight. And I know you hear a lot of those things too. What are kind of your like top one or two things that people are coming to you and saying like they need help with?
So very, very similar, right? I mean, we have people come to us that say I've been on medication, and well, I guess at first a common misconception is it should happen overnight, right? Like those, and I'll say, why do you? I'm just curious, why do you think that? Well, because I've seen these celebrities or I've seen friends, and what they're not, the piece that they're missing is that it didn't happen overnight. You may not have seen those friends or that actress or actor for 6 months, right? So it it really is not an overnight thing. It feels like it as you're going through it. But, so most people don't either think they're losing fast enough, think they hit a plateau or something of the sort. And they haven't been given much instruction or any instruction.
Yeah.
And they also may not recognize that they do have some sort of metabolic dysfunction. And there's five indicators of metabolic dysfunction and they don't know it. And they're like, why didn't the doctor tell me? And, I think it's so much of it is just because the doctors, they, they haven't had any nutrition. Most doctors have not had nutrition education. I think I've been told that they get about 3 hours in their entire medical school. So I think that's one challenge. But I also view it as people when a bride to be will go in for a wedding dress and they say, oh, no, 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 I know that it shows that, I'm a size 16, but if you can just give me a 12 or a 10, because by the time it comes in, that's where I'm going to be. And they absolutely will not do that anymore. because it never happened, right? Or maybe on a rare occasion. But I think doctors feel the same way. They see so many people come in that, oh, no, no, like I got it, I'm good. And they're not because they don't have the tools or support to help them become better. So I think they're the big things.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point because I spent nearly 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry. It was my job either being the rep talking to the doctor or being the manager teaching and training a sales force how to break down medication and talk to doctors. And so we really got such an inside look and understanding of what our American medical system really looks like. And while we have this generation of doctors right now who are in their probably 50s and 60s, who originally went to school because their parent was a doctor and they actually changed lives. The system that they grew up in had shifted significantly. And so your doctor gets what, 15, 20 minutes with you, and they get to assess a checklist of things that have been pre-filled before you even get in there. I mean, I can fully understand and appreciate what our sick care system is and what it's not, but I got an inside look to see why it works the way it does, but then why so many people feel lost inside of it. And so when we see a new patient and we're doing a thorough intake, there are medical forms that are sometimes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 forms because we're looking at a full lifestyle. What is your current lifestyle goals? What season of life are you in? What traumatic events have you happened? What changes in financial family status have you had? Like, what is realistic? Like, okay, those are your goals, but what can we actually expect in terms of change now? And we spend a full hour with our patients when they first come in to really get an understanding of what they need and help them see what is realistic in what type of a time frame. And I think that's just kind of the difference when you're doing concierge care or working with a coach like you, is we have the time, we've built in the time and the tools to
Yeah.
provide the patient with those things that they're looking for.
Yeah. And I love that you said that because, we do, I've actually heard that doctors get 7 minutes. Like, and I know every practice is different, right? I think you were generous with 15, right?
Right.
But whatever it is, it's not just about everyone being the same, right? Because some people think that I just want to lose weight because then I'll feel better and blah blah blah. But it's so much more than just a number on the scale, right? We talk about all the metabolic indicators, right? And people say, well, metabolism isn't that just, I have a good metabolism, I have fast metabolism, or it's slow, you don't understand, like all of those things. And it's really our body's ability to manage the energy source, right? And but so many things come with that. Yes, the season of life. How are you sleeping? How's your stress? Right? Like we live in this constant state of high cortisol, right? I mean, and through nobody's fault. Well, other than maybe we don't know or recognize tools that we have to calm our mind and our body, right? Big part of that, right? So in addition to the food and the hydration, right? Are we exercising? How are we exercising? Are we supporting our body in that aspect with all of those others? So it's not, oh, just the number on the scale for sure.
I love that you mentioned sleep first because I would say that you and I probably both agree that the number one most neglected thing that we can do for ourselves is elevate our sleep and make our sleep a priority and really readjust that. Because I hear so many times people say, "Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead." No, 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 you're missing the point. You will have more life in your years if you take care of the house that you're living in, the body that you're living in. But when you mentioned exercise as well, I will tell you that when I first secretly started my GLP-1 journey a year and a half ago. I mean, it's no secret, but at first I was like, no, don't tell everybody.
People are ashamed. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much shame and guilt that comes with it, right? Or like, oh my God, she's taking the easy button.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
tool.
it's absolutely a tool. What I noticed is I would say somewhere around month 2, maybe month 3, I realized when I went up to my home office, which was upstairs, I didn't get that like heavy leg, almost winded feeling that was so disjointed from being what was I guess 44, 45-year-old woman who was not overweight or severely overweight, but had more fluff than my body should carry. But that fatigue of my legs, that heaviness that I had kind of recognized, I didn't put one and one together until it actually went away. That, oh my gosh, that was the first thing I noticed and how much better I'm feeling. And then what did that catapult me into doing? I ordered the weighted vest. I started walking, and then very soon after that, I started picking up the weights because my body just felt lighter and better. Why? Because I was doing something to help reset my entire metabolic system because we all become insulin resistant or move that way the older we get. And if we
Yeah.
don't do anything about it, then you stay stuck.
It's fascinating. 93%, I mean, some people say 90, some people say 94% of American adults have what's called metabolic dysfunction. And there's five indicators. And I am, thrilled I don't have one. So I'll say I'm one of the rarities from that aspect, but that wasn't always the case, right? This is something that I have been working hard on. And yes, as people start to, we'll say lose weight, right? They start reducing the inflammation depending on what they're eating, right? And that's where, some people say, "Oh my gosh, I'm down 10 pounds," but they look like so much more, or they feel so much. They could start to see it and they start to feel it. And I'm like, that's that inflammation, right? And as that goes down, you do start feeling better. And that is when you start adding in, let me start lifting some weights. We need, especially as we get older, to really build our strength, right? It's not about I'm going to go run a 5K or I'm going to, yes, go for all the goals you want. But in the meantime, let's just start with building strength because so many people wait until they retire, right? Then I'm going to have time to do something. But the bottom line is you want to be able to carry your luggage as you're traveling when you retire, right? You want to be able to lift it and put it in the overhead compartment when you're on an airplane. You want to be able to, for people who have grandkids, they want to be able to play and carry them. There's so many important reasons, and muscle is key, right, for longevity, right? As you mentioned, right, that our health span matches our lifespan.
Yeah.
So
And I think that, not enough people really talk about that. But again, the whole point of muscle, where we're in this period of time where, at least in my world, I see everybody talking about muscle. And it can feel, I think for people who are not comfortable in the gym, who are not somebody who has spent any time in life lifting weights, but maybe they've just been physically active because they've led busy lifestyles, right? It can almost feel like muscle shaming, but the point of why we talk about muscle is for that longevity piece, not the vanity piece of it, because the more muscle you have on your body, the more you're supporting the connective tissues, your tendons, your ligaments, the less likely you're going to suffer from these catastrophic injuries. We know, like, once an elderly person breaks a hip, you literally have an expectancy of sometimes 3 to 12 months
yeah,
because of all the
and it's
comorbidities that go along with that.
yeah, and people don't understand why, right? And it's because like when people elderly people fall, there's so much more. And if they had stronger muscles to protect themselves, right? That's why it's not, as you mentioned, about like becoming I'm buff looking, right? People don't have to look, but can still have really great muscle mass. So it's really an important piece. And it's not about how much can I bench press, right?
Yeah,
But can you be strong? Because our muscle mass decreases 8% every decade after 30, somewhere in your 30s. I mean, can you imagine 8% every decade?
that's a
Right? So the
lot. Yeah.
people that are, in their 50s and 60s, right? And if you're not moving forward in that, you're going
Well,
backwards.
and that's what I do tell people when somebody comes in, they're like, "Oh, I'd really like to be on a GLP-1, but I'm really worried about losing my muscle." And I'm like, "Okay, I get that. I understand that. Number one, GLP-1s do not themselves have a side effect of causing muscle loss. Poor nutrition does, lack of movement does. But can you tell me what you've been doing in the past, I don't know, 6 to 12 months to build muscle?" And they're like, "Well, nothing." And I'm like, "So why are we worried about it now?" I mean, well, and I think it's a fair question. Why are we
Yeah,
worried about it now? Because honestly, if
yeah,
I'm doing my job, I'm going to teach you how to feel better. You're going to be on a lower dose medication that still allows you the energy. I'm going to teach you how to eat. And then we're going to start talking about how to make these lines diverge, right? You want
yeah,
increase in muscle mass while you want a decrease in fat. And when I'm doing my
that's
job
right.
well, which I do, that's what you see is increase in muscle mass and decrease in fat. And you want them going pretty much at the same rate, if
Right.
possible.
And that's, same thing, right? I do the exact same thing, and it's absolutely amazing to see it. And we ask people to get we use a Renfo scale, right? It's $25, right? On Amazon. But that actually has 13 different indicators, right? That people can see, right? Not only focusing on the weight and your BMI, it's important for so many reasons, but let's take a look at your visceral fat. Let's take a look at your subcutaneous fat. Let's take a look at your lean mass, right? And the goal is to get that visceral fat, right? The bad fat that's tucked in around the organs, right?
That's the
To get
dangerous stuff.
rid of that. It is. It's so dangerous. So let's focus on getting rid of that while building your muscle mass, right? So, the goal, I don't need to lose any weight from a metabolic standpoint, right? I'm in a healthy BMI, all of the things. But my goal, reduce my subcutaneous fat, increase my muscle mass, right? And so some people miss that and they think, oh, it's just about the number on the scale. No, because the BMI, right, as I think it, like I said, great indicator for many people, doesn't work for bodybuilders, right? It doesn't work when you have a muscle mass that, truth be told, most of us don't have a muscle mass that is so big that it's affecting our BMI. But yes, it's in there. But there's so many more things. So like I said, that Renfo scale, just a basic one, and somebody goes, well, it's not perfect, yeah, but you don't need to have a $200 or $300 scale. We're
But you know what I
tracking.
like about that is it's consistent because if it's in your home, you're getting a consistent reading, you're not jumping from one scale to another. You can
That's
hop
right.
on first thing in the morning when you get up and get an accurate number and have it be tracked.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean,
And
Kate,
I
I
share
think,
with
or go ahead.
So, oh
Yeah.
no, I was gonna say I share with people to do a week over week comparison because your body has daily fluctuations, right? So sometimes it could be hormones, men and women, right? It could be, did you have a little bit of salt, extra that your body's a little more sensitive to? Did you poop yet? Like there's so many
Yeah.
things. But when you're looking at a week over week, now you can go, okay, what happened, right? What happened? And you can make those like, why is it up a pound or 2 pounds? And it gives you that opportunity to go, let me evaluate. Let me see what happened. Oh, I did have these things, or let me pull that back a little bit tighter. So sorry to go off on a tangent there. I just think it's important. Sometimes people think they need to get on every day and they emotionally react to, I thought I was perfect yesterday and the scale's up 0.2. And I'm like, it's not.
And
So
yeah, I think that's a really good point to bring up too. Yes. I mean, you and I could go on and on and on and talk all the time. And I'm sure this is not going to be our last conversation, but I think this was a really good topic to bring up to our audience. And I thank you for taking some time with me today. Again, this is Danielle with Momentum Integrative Wellness, where we build momentum for people who can't afford to lose it. And I'm here with Caite Corripio, metabolic health coach, board certified health coach. And what's your
thank you.
website, Kate?
Behealthyandvibrant.com.
Beautiful. Where you can find us at peptidesstewart.com.